On this week's show, with the London election coming up, Sadiq Kahn warns of potential rent caps in London.
We're also going to be discussing the Airbnb director is screaming out for more Airbnb hosts due to staycations.
And we're answering all your property-related questions.
Welcome to the Property Investors Podcast. Thanks so much for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe so you never miss an upload. You can catch us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify and YouTube. Enjoy this week's show and don't forget to share it with all your friends.
Hey, I'm Russell Leeds.
Hey, I'm Alistair Cunningham.
And welcome to the Property Investors Podcast. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm good. I'm getting very stressed out, but I'm good.
You look very stressed.
Yeah, I am.
Alistair, he said to me this morning, he said, I'm sick of being too much of a pushover. And I was thinking, I can't think of anyone who's less of a pushover than you, quite frankly.
Yeah.
But anyway, tell me what you've been up to then. Anything exciting?
I'm just doing some gardening, working on gardens at one of my properties.
Living the dream.
I know. I've done an amazing job on this, like literally 2 days.
With your own bare hands. And I say bare hands because they look like bears' hands.
Shovels, isn't it? Shovels.
Yeah. Let's have a look. They're looking quite rough.
They are rough because I've been driving a digger and flattening some ground.
Are you seriously been driving a digger?
Yeah.
Really?
Flattening the ground off.
I've actually been driving a new vehicle as well.
I know you have.
That I haven't mentioned on the show, and I've talked about this in the past, and I've sort of like, I've been sort of sowing the seeds. I'm going to get an electric car now for the last probably year.
Yeah.
And I've finally gone and done it.
Yeah, it's plugged in out the front. So we went up to nearly Scotland a couple of weeks ago. We went Carlisle.
Carlisle,
to be
yeah.
precise, yeah. How many times did you have to stop and plug it in?
Just once.
You told me twice.
On the way back. Yeah. Once on the way, you said on the way to Carlisle.
Okay.
Twice on the way back.
So you couldn't even make the whole distance. You had to stop and plug it in for an hour and a half.
I did, but but here's the thing, right? Here's the thing, and all the savvy podcast listeners that are listening, this is the fact that they'll like to know.
Okay.
How much did it cost me in fuel? We'll call it fuel to get from home to Carlisle.
Why not just say electricity?
Okay. How much did it cost me in electricity to get from home to Carlisle?
I don't know.
Have a guess. How much did it cost you? How much did it cost you?
I don't know.
Yeah, roughly.
Had you a card?
Does it cost you nothing? How much did it cost? You know what I mean?
Probably 70. I don't know, 70 quid.
So it cost me £1.52.
Wow. And no, listen, I do agree it is good. So did you? Like we had a colleague once had an electric car. He had one of these Prius things. The thing is,
it wasn't a Prius. It was very ugly though. His car.
It was horrendous.
It looked like it hadn't been painted.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. It was a Friday car, wasn't it? They forgot to put the paint on it.
Yeah.
And
I wouldn't drive it on a Friday though. I'd say it was a no-day car.
Yeah. He actually wrote it off, didn't he? Because he was a shit driver. But it's what it is. But you've gone for a better car than a Prius. I mean, it's still battery powered.
Can I just say something? It took Russell 2 charges to get back, and he'd have still got back before you in your Porsche. No, and I bet he beat you on the way up there as well, and having to pull over.
He didn't. He went up in the van because he was tired of him going karting.
Listen. He went up to Carlisle in his Porsche. He had to stop for an hour and a half to charge it up because the thing went. Oh, I'm going to die soon. Look, he's getting all.
The colour.
Can you see? He's getting all red.
Grey.
He's getting all red. You can see the anger blowing up because he's an electric fan.
Just to fill you in, guys. That was Elliot speaking, who we were talking about with his electric car. And Ricky's not here this week, so Elliot has very graciously stepped in. He was here with us at the studio, so thank you for that, Elliot, and thank you for the comments on the car. My car is a lot faster than Alistair's
Well, okay,
car.
so Russell's bought himself a Porsche Taycan.
Yes,
is that right?
That's right.
And it's gone full electric. It's actually a pretty nice car. And if it had an engine, it'd be a little bit better, but it's pretty awesome.
Do you know what?
The good thing, you bought a brand new Porsche, so that means you get to do a Porsche track day.
You're going to come with me, aren't you?
I might even pay and do it, because I've done mine, but I might pay and do it at the same time as you just to have some fun, because it is actually an awesome day.
Yeah.
You'll love it. You'll absolutely love it. They put you on the circuit, you spend 4 or 5 hours there, and they push the car through all different weather modes, everything, and they get you to. Their job is to show you how good that car is, and they will push you. It's freaking amazing.
Yeah, I'm very looking forward to it. But seriously though, like if you are looking at, number one, I suppose being environmentally friendly, but from a tax point of view, oh my goodness, it is so worth it to get an electric car. But Robert Kiyosaki always says this about tax. He says, the government, people say that tax evasion?
Tax evasion is illegal.
Tax avoidance is just doing things like getting an electric car.
Yeah, using a good accountant to find ways to pay less tax.
And really what you're doing is, so by getting an electric car, am I avoiding tax? Well, yes, but what I'm actually doing is doing what the government want me to do. Mm-hmm. The government want you to get an electric car, so they incentivise you by giving you tax breaks.
Yeah.
So, you're avoiding tax by doing what the government want, and that's what most tax avoidance is. You're just using the schemes and doing what the government want you to do. So
absolutely.
When are you getting yours, Al?
My electric car, when hell freezes.
Are we not going to get an electric car?
No.
Ever?
And until I'm forced to do it, but no, I don't plan on getting an electric car. However, I do see the benefit of it round, if you, like for instance, I live in London, so I travel a lot around London. It would be absolutely ideal because you never have to charge it. We just plug it in at night, happy days. But I do lots of long distance journeys, so I'd have to have 2 cars. Here's a thought. Maybe I could get 2.
Maybe you could.
I could get a petrol one for the real journeys, and then a toy one for when I want to go drive around London.
I so want to challenge you to a drag race in our Porsches.
But you'll win, it's obvious.
Yeah, well, why do you think I'm not going to want to challenge you if I'm going to lose,
no, but it's obvious because you've got no drag through the engine or transmission because it's a direct motor to the... Yeah,
maybe I don't need to do it. Maybe that's
Al knows everything about drag.
It's not what I heard about you, mate.
Anyway, moving on with the show before people start killing us for talking too much about electric cars and things.
How's the weight loss going?
With me?
Been on any weigh-ins recently?
I saw someone who went on a very interesting weigh-in.
So did I.
This is one of the funniest stories you'll ever hear. So I'm not going to name Elliot's name. I'm just going to tell you the story, okay? So,
so just to reiterate, we're not going to name the person who was involved because it would be really unfair on Elliot.
It wouldn't be nice, would it? Okay, so we're not going to name him. So Elliot went to is trying to lose weight, and he is keeping himself accountable, which is a good thing to do.
He's lost half a stone.
He's doing very well, keeping himself accountable in our WhatsApp group with, very luckily for him, it happens to be a male only, although that's not deliberate, but a male only WhatsApp group, by taking pictures or videos of the scales with him on it. And he sent us over his latest weigh, and he's lost half a cent, doing really, really well. And he filmed himself, his face first, and he flicked it around, and he filmed himself getting on the scales. Now, what Elliot didn't realise, unfortunately, very unfortunately for us, is that scales are made primarily of glass.
Yeah.
And glass is reflective. And if you're not wearing any clothes, you might see something in the reflection, and sharing that on a group with us is a massive mistake.
But it wasn't a massive mistake, it was a small mistake. It was maybe a small mistake, but it's certainly not something I wanted to see when I woke up in the morning. So on that note, let's talk about what we're going to be talking about today's show.
Alright, cool. So we've got 2 sort of main topics for today. First is about Airbnb. This is what you've looked at, so fill me in then. What's the crack?
Well, the owner of Airbnb is absolutely screaming out for Airbnb hosts to upload properties to the platform because the supply is just not there at the minute and the demand is humongous because of the staycations. And I know because I've been looking for like a weekend away breaks, things like that, and the places are booking up.
I've actually booked first time, because I normally like to go abroad. Really.
Yeah.
The first time I've booked the holiday for this year in beginning of July, and I've booked through, I can't remember if it's Airbnb or Booking.com, but one of the two, and it was like it's a holiday home. I actually booked it. Where are you going this year?
Probably Las Vegas as soon as I can get out to.
So you are going to go? Are you not booking an Airbnb or anything?
No, just for
you guys. What are you? Because you're going on holiday soon, aren't you, Elliot?
Yeah.
Where are you going?
We've got a lodge in Cornwall.
Well, there you go. So you've done
stuff.
it. Do you normally do that?
No.
So I don't either. But where everyone's booking, and how much short did he say he was? He said he was
like 100,000. He could use 100,000 extra properties on the Airbnb site to just keep up with demand. So there's such a massive lack of supply at the minute, and all that's doing for everyday families is it's pushing the prices up because obviously the demand's not there. The supply's not there, but the demand is huge. Now, obviously, we keep banging on about staycations. We've been banging on about it now for several times because now is a great time. If you're on the fence about doing essays, get them because they are screaming out for people to host Airbnb, obviously because people aren't going to be going abroad as much as we think.
Here's a question for you. Right, if you're interested in getting, because you don't source rent-to-rents, do you?
No.
Why is that?
Just because historically it's, for me, it was always proven just too much. It was always getting people through referencing and all that sort of stuff was always a little bit more harder, and I just don't. It's never been the thing I've always gone for. I've done rent in the past, but I don't source them because I don't actively look for them. The reason I got into sourcing was because I was out looking for properties, buy, refurb, refinance, and HMOs. So the ones I was coming across, I was just selling. So it's just naturally gone that way. I mean, I might start looking at them. I do source buy, refurb, refinance into service accommodation, but not rent, and service.
Would you recommend someone sourcing a rent-to-rent or getting their own, finding their own?
It depends on their particular needs. It depends on their budgets and what they're looking for. If they've got no time, then yeah, pay somebody to source you one. But if they've got time, then go and get one. Get trained. First thing you've got to do is get trained.
I'm not a big fan of and I just wondered if there was a reason why you didn't sell
No,
on
it's just really because I've never really done sourcing of rents. I've sold a few back in the day, but not recently, because I'm mainly looking for buy refurbs and HMOs, and I do have some private clients that I look after when it comes to buy refurb into service accommodation and holiday lets, but no, not generally.
No. Okay, cool. I just wondered if there was a reason, because I know a few people that have been burnt by buying rent-to-rents off a sourcer. And my fear, I suppose, with buying it, especially if they're pricey, is that you haven't.
There's no asset.
No.
Yeah,
so let's say you buy a house for a rental, and it turns out it didn't run out as well as you thought, and you end up doing it as a single let. At least you've got the asset.
You've got the asset.
At least you've got something. There's, we've seen people.
We're hearing of ridiculous fees, like £10,000 fees for rent-to-rent essays, and it's like, wow. I think it's a little bit pricey, but I don't know the full details to make further comment.
Well, you're not making a comment about anyone in particular. I'm just saying in general.
Yeah.
I personally would highly recommend not buying for a deal source, because I suppose there's two reasons to buy for a deal source. Reason number one, and I'm only talking about rent-to-rents here. Reason number one would be that you don't know how to find the deal. Mm-hmm. And reason number two would be you do know how to find the deal, but you just haven't got time.
Time, inclination, yeah.
I would definitely only recommend it if you're fitting under reason number two.
Yeah, 100%. You need to know what you're talking about. Now, fortunately, we can help you with that. We've got coming up, just actually in 2 weeks' time, we're running a program called the Service Accommodation Intensive, and we'll put a link below to speak to one of the training advisors. It's so hot at the minute, so I think it's super important that if you're looking to do service accommodation, you need to get along to that program. We also have a Service Accommodation Intensive online, which is a 4-week training program. We'll put a link for that down below as well.
And we've got a free program called Rent to Rent Revolution in June.
Yeah.
I believe that's completely free, that people can attend to find out a bit more, spend the day learning about rent to rent. So yeah, obviously you can do that, but I think if you're going to do rent to rent, you need to know the crack. You need to know 100%. If it's going to work, because if you just trust the deal sourcer, especially if you're paying a big fee, I mean, it's a bit different if you're paying, well, it's not different, I suppose, but
you need to know that you're not having the wool pulled over your eyes. Yeah, massively. I agree with that. So
I always use the example for me. If I go to a mechanic, I mean, I won't need to go to a mechanic anymore because my car is electric and it'll just work forever. But let's say I had a crappy 2-year-old Porsche and it might break or whatever. It was a petrol one.
Okay.
And I might have to take it to a mechanic. If I took it in and they said to me, this is wrong, that I would just trust them and pay it, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't know, and they can very easily pull the wool over my eyes. Whereas if you went in,
they wouldn't pull the wool over my eyes.
No, because you used to be a mechanic, and you know the crack, right? I don't know anything about cars, really.
Clearly not, because you bought an electric. You bought basically a Porsche Dodgem.
Can you believe I've got the guy who's got a Porsche Cayman is calling my car a Dodgem? It's like
Porsche Dodgem. Anyway, Airbnb, staycations, buy them, get them, find them, secure them, do whatever you can, because Airbnb are screaming out. There's £100,000 lack and they need it. Not £100,000. There's £100,000 shortage of properties,
not pounds.
And they are screaming out for the
units.
There's 100,000 units in lack and they are screaming out for these properties, so make sure you find them, get them on Airbnb if you want to make money and benefit from the staycation boom.
Or Booking.com.
Or Booking.com.
And there's lots of others as well. Trivago.
No personal preference.
Verbo, really good.
There you go. So
okay, whatever. Airbnb.
Sure.
Okay, go.
Airbnb. All right, cool. So yeah, cool. Excellent. So that was the first thing we wanted to talk about this week. Second thing,
I'm really interested about this next story because I think it's utter tosh. I think it's absolute ridiculous. What the? But go on, read it out.
All right, let's read it out. Well, first of all, those of you that don't know, London Mayor, I believe the election's on the 7th of May. I believe.
I don't know.
It's coming up very soon. Brian Rose is running, isn't he?
I don't know.
Do you know who Brian Rose is?
Yeah, I know who he is, but I don't know if he's running. I don't pay much attention.
I don't mean he's like running. I mean, well, he's running, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
For London Mayor. So
I keep seeing his banner on the M40 or the A40.
So you did know.
I said I didn't know he's running. I know who he is.
What did you think the banner was for?
I don't know.
Vote Brian!
No, I didn't read it. I just saw the picture of
When it said Vote Brian, I thought he was on X Factor.
latest contestant on Britain's Got Talent. I don't know, mate. I don't follow politics. So go on.
All right, so this is what the current Mayor of London, Sadiq Kahn.
Yeah.
Oh, so you did know. You know a bit.
I just read it.
He is launching his re-election campaign. One of the things that he said, and I thought it would be something worth discussing on here, I'd be very interested to see what people at home think as well, is that they're looking at capping rents in London. Initial reaction from you?
I think it's just ludicrous. I think, why? Like, surely we are... Business, right? Business is done by a willing buyer and a willing seller. So if somebody's willing to pay what you want and you're selling that product, then what's the problem? Do you know, interestingly, I was looking at Rightmove the other day and I was looking through rental properties in London and I come across a property in Mayfair and you wouldn't believe this, it was a 6-bedroom sort of townhouse. It is on the market for £183,000 per month. Like, that's how much people are, like, and people probably pay that. Like, it's just ludicrous. Like, obviously that's the elite are paying that sort of money. But my point being, and it's not the only one, there's lots of properties on the market for...
That's literally like more than double how much you pay for your rent, isn't it?
But yeah, but there's literally loads of properties that are like 50k and above per month, like, to rent. It's crazy. But like, obviously the normal person's not going to pay that sort of money. But yeah, I think these rent caps are just ludicrous. How can they control that? I just don't get how they can control what somebody sells their property for or rents their property out for. That's like saying Canon, who make cameras, can never sell a camera for more than £1,500. Like, it's just ridiculous because you'll have poor quality cameras, better quality cameras. You'll have poor quality houses and better quality houses.
All right, this is his argument. His argument is we live in a democracy. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
And he's going to let people vote for it.
Okay.
And the majority of people
will vote for it.
Or will vote for it in favour of it. So if that's what the majority want, what if that's what the majority want, why should that not be allowed to happen?
He's got look, there's no comeback from that. I know what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
But the problem is the majority of people will never be like it's not going to affect them, is it? Well, it'll affect them because they want lower rents. But that means that if we're landlords and we've got expensive houses that we've invested our money in, that means we can only... What's he thinking of capping it at, by the way? Is it going to be a flat cap or is it going to be bands for like a 3-bed, you can cap it at whatever?
I don't know, actually. I don't know what he's planning on capping it.
I just quite frankly don't agree with it. I think it's just it's another way of control by the government.
So would you say that the majority doesn't rule and it should be...
You're trying to get me to say things I shouldn't be saying.
No, I'm just asking the question.
No,
would you say then, if that's what the majority want, no, because Alistair Cunningham says it's not right?
I don't care what I say. I don't matter what I say.
But I just wondered.
But I don't know how... You're trying to twist me up here, and I know it.
Sadiq's listening to
Alistair
this.
for PM.
Yeah, Alistair for PM. In my world...
But what's your
You don't want me as Prime Minister, because I will cut everything, trust me. And I will make everyone stand on their own 2 feet like big boys and girls. That's what I would do.
Alright, but what you're saying is wrong.
I'm not saying it's wrong, I'm saying I don't agree with it.
Oh, well, so what's your argument back to that then? If that's what the majority want, why not?
Then... I don't have an argument, I just
majority
don't
want
agree
a
with
pay
it.
rise, wouldn't they? If they asked them, do you want a pay rise, the majority of people say yes, so it depends on the question, doesn't it?
The problem is you're asking the majority who are always going to be the ones not struggling, but always going to be the ones that will always vote for what benefits them. Like it's not going to, of course, it's not going to benefit the wealthy of the country because they are now got these properties that they've invested their hard-earned savings.
Yeah, but they can sell them. It's not like.
Next, they'll be capping it at what you can sell it for. But then the problem is, if they do cap the sale price, if they say you can now sell your property, great. But then you're not going to have the same. It's not going to have the same value because the rent's capped.
But realistically, do you think people are buying these houses, these expensive houses, to rent? We both know that expensive houses don't make great rentals. Am I right?
Hey mate, this house in Mayfair, 183 grand a month. That's making good money.
I wonder what it's worth. Scary.
Yeah, I was going to look, but I couldn't find the house.
Scary because
but yeah, it's going to be worth. It's got to be. It's got to be like 40, 50 million. You got it, like
it's ridiculous.
It's just obscene. Like it makes my rent that.
I just thought it was very interesting. Like the fact that you've got no comeback for the argument. I just think it's. But
it's not going to affect me, so it doesn't matter.
Well, it might affect you.
Why will it affect me?
Because if they say that they are allowed to cap rentals, it's starting in London, but that is a dangerous precedent to set.
I agree with you. It is dangerous because everywhere follows London, but. Realistically, right, the people that create the rules are the people that also invest in property. So a lot of these wealthy people that create the rules, do you really think all this is Sadiq Kahn playing to the masses to get them to vote, and then suddenly they'll have a change of heart? That's all it is. It's bullshit.
So you just think it will never happen?
I think it will never happen. I think he's only saying it to get the majority of the country to vote for him.
And then you think afterwards he'll just let it get blocked?
He'll let it get blocked, or he'll just suddenly stop talking about it in the media. Suddenly there'll be a new something comes out which takes precedent over that, and that gets backbenched.
So you think he's just a liar?
I don't think he's a liar. I'm not saying that. I think he's a politician.
Well, same thing. All right, listen. So I think it's terrible. Because
I agree with you.
I think that it's trying to control a free market, right? And it doesn't matter what the majority would vote for no taxes, but it just doesn't work as a country, right? And our country, just because that's what people want, doesn't mean that it's the best thing. The majority of children would vote that everything was made out of chocolate, but we couldn't make everything out of chocolate. Do you know what I mean? So I think that it's a free market. The value of the rent is set by what people are willing to pay for it.
It's supply and demand, mate.
Now, as it happens, I think, like for example, this house that we're in right now, the rent doesn't even cover the mortgage, right? And now you could argue that that's not fair because he's renting it out and he's making a loss on it. But again, it's supply and demand. It's what people are prepared to pay.
Okay, so fine, right? So let's look at this house this needlessly big house that you've got. So let's joking. Okay, so you've got this big house, right? And the thing is, before you moved in here, it was empty for some time.
It wasn't.
No. Just lost that point then. No, my point being is these expensive houses sometimes they don't get tenants.
Well, so they do have to, but they have to drop the rent.
They have to be more. They have to be more open to negotiation.
Yeah.
And the target market is always going to be less. It's like my apartment in London. My apartment in London was on the market for like £2,800 a month, right? So when I went to view it, there was very few people viewing the apartment, and there was certainly very few people in the position that I was in to be able to pay all the deposits and make a decision like that. So I used that power that I had to negotiate the price down, and I didn't become a motivated buyer. I become a sensible buyer, and I said, look, my price is this. I'm in a position to move quickly. Go. Because they've got more expensive houses, they have to be more open to discussions when it comes to rents.
How much is your apartment?
The value of it.
No, how much are you paying in rent?
2,500.
2,500. Okay, so let's say, for argument's sake, that they said the most you can. I think you'd be okay actually at that rate. But let's say, for argument's sake, they said the most that you can pay. We're going to cap it. No more than $1.5 grand.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it for any more than that. Suddenly, your flat becomes unrentable.
It does.
Because he couldn't rent it out at 1.5 because he would make a loss.
If you look, right, so I know for a fact that it's worth 1.2 million, right? So if you bought that and you put a 75% LTV, 75%, so you get £900,000 mortgage, right?
Yeah.
Times that by a fairly accurate rate, The mortgage is £2,200 a month.
So he's just covering his mortgage, right?
Well, no, yeah. So at the minute he's just covering his mortgage. He makes money out of me because I pay for a 6-month car parking space every 6 months, and he makes obviously charges me for that.
But this is my point, though, right?
So if you cap it at 50,
so suddenly you can't rent the house you want to live in.
Yeah.
Because unless you have to buy it.
So then, what's my landlord going to do with that house?
He's going to have to sell it to someone that wants to live in it themselves.
He wants to live in it himself. Yeah.
So suddenly you can't rent. I wouldn't be able to rent this.
Yeah.
If the cap came in. So it's like
I don't think it'll ever come.
It's just
for that
ridiculous.
reason.
It's
for that
moronic.
Reason.
It's wrong.
Because
morally wrong.
What it will do is it might force house prices down. Maybe they're doing it to drop house prices for the masses, isn't it? It's for the masses, because the masses of people want house prices to go down, more affordable living. They want house prices to drop so they can afford to buy. It's only the minority that want house prices to keep rising so they make profit from income and profit from selling.
The government quite clearly want the house. Look at all the stuff he's doing with the stamp duty.
Do they really want that? Do they really want the house prices to go up just before an election? Or do they want the house prices to drop?
I think you're right the first time. I think it's about that. I think it's about Sadiq Kahn trying to appeal to the masses to get voted in.
It's just for votes, mate. It's for votes. That's what I think. And I think it'll never happen.
A very interesting debate, though. I mean, we could talk about this all day. It'd be really interesting to know your thoughts. Please do comment below. Do you agree with Alistair? Is Sadiq Kahn just a liar? that should be the topic for this podcast. Alistair Cunningham calls out Sadiq Kahn. Alistair Cunningham brands Sadiq Kahn a liar. Do you like it?
Yeah, whatever.
Right, it's now time for this. Okay, so this is the part of the show where we test our property or general knowledge. Myself versus Alistair, I am winning quite comprehensively. I don't like to point it out, but I have to. I think it is about 9-2. So we'll see if Alistair can claw his way back to victory. Fat chance.
Just get on
over
with
the
it.
next few
Come
weeks.
on, let's play this mind-numbingly boring quiz.
Now, normally Ricky is the quiz master. This week we've handed it over to Elliot and Chris, who are desperately sort of like panicking and talking amongst each other. So I hope that it's going to be a good quiz. I'm not holding out masses of hope.
Neither am I.
I'm not going to be honest.
We'll see.
I'm going to be honest. So, boys, take it away.
Okay, so this week in the red corner we have the man, the myth, the legend, the heavyweight property invested champion of the world, Mr. Russell Leeds, everybody.
Thank you. Not keen on the heavyweight part right there, but other than that, yeah, thank you very much.
That is a ridiculous intro.
Go on, Elliot.
In the blue corner, we have the Scottish Alistair Cunningham.
Yeah. I thought there was going to be some clever nickname there. We have the Scottish
I was expecting
Alistair Cunningham.
I said the English Russell Leeds.
Alright, here we go. Question number 1. How much did it cost to build the Emirates Stadium?
That's a good question.
You should know because you're an Arsenal fan.
I don't know.
Oh, really? Okay.
I've got a rough idea.
I'm just making it up. I have no Scooby-Doo. Okay, next.
Yeah.
How many flowers are there in your garden?
In whose garden?
My garden.
His garden.
My garden, the one I just put
The
in
one you've been
Instagram.
working on, yeah, everyone's
Fine,
seen it.
okay,
The
fine.
one he was talking about the other day?
Yeah.
Well, hold on, he's been there.
We're trying to
It's
give him
all
a
over
chance.
social media.
Trying to give
It
him a
was on
chance this week.
Instagram, so
As if I'd follow you on Instagram.
I unfollowed you a long time ago. Right, come on, let's go. I've put a number down. Okay, next.
Right, question number 3, Alistair
Yeah,
and Russell.
yeah.
How many pounds would Alistair have to lose in fat to go 1 second quicker around a karting lap?
Oh.
That's a very good question. That surprises me. I think Ricky would even struggle.
That is
That's
a good question. Well, we'd have to see him on the scales to see how much he'd lost. If you went on the scales, could you send us a video?
Please don't. No. Okay, I think
You want another video?
Is it in can we do it in kilograms? Pounds.
Pounds.
I need to convert pounds to kilograms.
I'm just going to guess.
Oh, fine. Oh, okay. I reckon. Okay, next.
Okay, number 4. This one's a bit subjective, but in one sentence only, please. If you could go on a night out with Ricky or Samuel...
Ricky Mandel.
Ricky Mandel, which one would you choose and why? In one sentence,
So
please.
how are you going to judge who wins?
Just with the funniest answer, to be honest.
Oh, fine. Okay.
The funniest answer.
The best answer wins.
The best and
Oh.
funniest.
No problem.
My answer's not funny at all.
You might
And
not
then you're
win.
going to lose. So next question.
Okay, and the 5th and final question is, how much did it cost to build the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium? And for a bonus point, what's the difference between the Arsenal cost and the Tottenham Hotspur cost?
Oh, okay. No worries. Okay, I've got it.
Alistair seems confident.
I'm not. I'm always like this. Just
He says this and I'm worried and then he gets them all wrong.
Oh, okay, let's go then. Answers. So number 1, what was the answer? Have you got a question?
Well, it's just on what we put first.
Yeah, that's what
I
you
put
put.
10 billion.
10 billion! I put 1 billion. I know it's about 1 billion. Roughly.
1 billion.
I think so.
I know is-
Interesting.
The Emirates.
I actually thought it was just under. I thought it was like 900 and something.
All I know is that all these, like, they get Middle Eastern investors and they just throw money and pile money into football
It was
stadiums.
built nearly 20 years ago.
Oh, I thought it was built last. I don't follow football.
It was, I think it's 2004.
Do you know I follow a real
Yeah.
sport where like big burly men pick up an oval shaped ball and throw it around?
What you
not
watch in
kick
Big
a bag of
Burly
air
Men
around.
is not a sport. The ball doesn't
Come on. What's the answer? What's the answer?
350 million.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Is that all?
I was shocked.
Shit all.
I've got this. I've got this wrong. Right. Okay. What's question
Was
number
it
2?
Was it Spurs that was a billion?
Hang
Wait,
on,
wait,
we'll
wait.
get, look.
I'll get
come
that.
on.
Question number 2.
Was the flowers in your garden?
I put 5.
I put 10.
Okay, well we've looked exclusively and there's 0.
There's no flowers. Why is there no flowers in your garden, Al?
Oh, there's a tree.
There's a
Yeah,
tree.
there's a tree.
There's a fence. There's not a flower either, is it?
Fine, fair enough. I didn't know that, but okay, good point.
Alright.
I don't know.
So that's 1-1.
Interesting. The next question.
Yeah, I'm very interested
Yeah,
in the
I'm
next question. I put £40.
I put 44. Can I give you my logic behind it?
Go on.
Because I know for every 5 kilograms is a quarter of a second a lap. So it's 20 kilograms, and I know there's 2.2 kilograms, 2.2 pounds to a kilogram.
I know for
44.
every £7 or half a stone that's lost, I'll get to watch a little video of Elliot.
What's the answer? What's the answer?
So, Alistair, you are the closest.
Where's it?
It was 43.7.
Yeah, I knew it was.
Wow.
It's just I knew because I knew it was. I knew it was 5 kilograms. It's quarter of a
You
second.
were
a lap.
actually right.
I'm bang on.
Fair.
So at the
play.
minute I'm 2.2. 2.2. I'm 2-1.
2-1.
Next question. Next question.
This one's subjective. There's 3 of us here behind the camera, so we'll do it as a bit of a vote as to the
Go on.
funniest answer. So let's hear your answers.
You said funniest or you said best. You've changed to funniest. We're
No,
going
he
to go
said
back
he
to
said
best.
whatever they found.
Yeah.
Whatever you want. Okay.
Yeah.
go on.
So whichever one we laugh the hardest.
So you go first.
Laugh
Go on, you go first.
No, you go first.
Oh, I would go out with Ricky. Keep a lookout.
That's a
All right.
private one, isn't it? Yeah.
Is it behind the
Because I haven't heard that before. Anyway, go on, Russell.
I don't get that one at all.
Doesn't matter.
I'd go with Ricky because he's a DJ, so he'd know all the best spots. You know, he knows Wayne Lineker's nightclub. You know, he takes us to some pretty interesting places. Not funny, but it's a good answer, right? Best answer.
We have to give either of them a point.
No?
You don't. But I'm winning 2-1, so it don't matter.
They're both absolutely crap.
Yeah, I think.
Wayne Lineker, he's in Ibiza. We can't get out there at the minute.
Well, who knows?
Just make a decision, boys.
Or you don't give either a point. It's up to you.
I'm swaying on Russell just
Look,
because I've
I'm
heard the keeper look out on millions of
I'm
times.
swaying towards keep a lookout because I know the full meaning.
Oh,
behind
so
it.
it's-
So it
Alright,
comes down-
Evans, come on, tiebreaker. Which one, Evans?
And just bear in mind.
I'll give it to Russell.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yes, Russell. I love you, Russell. Oh, please, Russell.
Alistair, I know you do that normally, but the camera's on right now. Shush.
Right, next. Come on, next.
Right, so the last question was obviously how much did it cost to build the Tottenham Hotspur
Right,
Stadium?
it was $1 billion, and it was about 650,000 more than Arsenal's stadium.
Well, you gone for Al?
Well, I put it cost 12 billion to build, so I have no idea. I don't follow football, mate. I know that I don't know, so I'm done. So
Okay, Russell, you bang on. Absolutely.
it was
bang
$1 billion
on.
to build,
£1 billion to build.
so it's 600.
My question to you, Russell, is how do you feel that your North London rivals spent £650,000 more on a stadium than Arsenal did?
I'm delighted because
Anyway.
it's an absolute waste of money.
Who won this week's quiz?
Me, 3-2.
Oh.
4-2, I got a bonus point.
Oh well, good stuff. Well, give him a hand.
Hooray!
Right, okay,
Go Russell!
it's now time. I see another pointless quiz.
10-2.
Pointless. It's just absolute pointless.
You're not totally pointless. You've got 2 points.
Guys,
I know it feels pointless. I know it feels pointless when you get beaten every single week. It's like the F1 drivers. They're like, oh, this is pointless. Lewis Hamilton wins everything. I understand, right? I don't understand.
if you think this is a pointless quiz, put it down below. I'm sure you, like me, agree it's a needless waste of the last 50 minutes of our lives. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. It's now time for some real questions from some real viewers. Now, every single week we do an Instagram live, and me and Russell stick them on Instagram, and we take your questions. And we've got 3 questions for you this week. So each of the guys are going to ask the questions, and we'll do our best to answer them. So guys, Elliot, fire. What's your first question?
So our first question is coming from a guy called Andrew.
Yeah.
He wants to know at the minute, which is your most favourite strategy, and why?
That's a good question.
Great question. Okay, for me, it's always going to be buy, refurb, refinance because I like the way we can recycle cash and then build assets. So for me, it's always buy, refurb, refinance.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay, next question, Chris.
This one's from Joanne. I think it's because there's a lot going on with castles at the moment. She's asked you, how many castles are there in England?
That's the sort of question you should have asked that in the quiz.
That would have been a really
That
good
would have been
a really good question.
But I'm quite interested to know.
I have no idea.
I don't know
362.
I mean, I can take a guess.
I don't know. I have no idea, Joanne.
Joanne, I suggest that you just Google it rather than asking us silly questions. I mean, if we wanted silly questions, we'd have got them to write some silly questions.
Alright, one more. Evans, come on, ask us a question. One of the ones we gave you earlier.
Yes, so we got a question from Jason. Jason is asking...
4,000, by the way, Joanne.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Where's Jason from?
Jason is from London.
Ah, cool. Whereabouts?
It doesn't say on there, but I presume it's North London.
Ah, cool stuff.
Yeah.
Why do you presume it's North London?
I can just tell by the way that he types. There's a special way that people from North London type.
How do people from North London type?
I can show you, and then you can try and figure it out.
Ah, okay. What's the question?
So what he's asking is that how can you turn £100 he's got to his name into £1 million? What's the quickest way to get there in property?
Wow.
Really
What a question.
How do you turn £100 into £1 million?
Can't say really that.
You're gonna have to
100
get
lottery tickets.
Now you're gonna have to. On a serious note, like, okay, fine. If that's your situation, that's fine. You're gonna have to get frigging creative because, listen, I'm gonna spin this round. People ask
How
me
do
all
you
the
turn
time.
£1 million into 100? Now that is a good question.
On a serious note, listen. On a serious note, right? People ask me all the time. They say to me all the time, "I ain't got a lot of money. How can I get involved in property?" Right? And I ask them the same question. I say, "Look, can you start a business with little money?" And the answer is often yes, because you can. So it's no different because property is a business. Property is just a vehicle to create income. So the answer to your question is yes, you can start a business. You can start a property business with no money. You've got to get creative and you've got to find other people to invest in you. You've also got to understand that because you're potless, you need to bring the sweat equity. Okay, so you're not going to get some investor who's going to give you all the money and do all the work. You've got to bring something to the table, and you've got to understand what that is. So turning a little bit of money into a lot of money, you're going to have to get very, very busy, my friend. You're going to have to understand all the strategies. You're going to have to get your ass up and get out there and start looking at houses, start building rapport, building connections with agencies, with investors, joint venture partners, and you're going to have to work your ass off, mate. When you've done it, let me know, and I'll be the first to support you.
Here's what I would say. I would say there's many rungs to a ladder. That's like saying, how do you get from the bottom of a ladder straight immediately to the very top of the ladder? Well, you don't. You climb the ladder one step at a time. And the strategies that you use to go from £100 to, say, having, what's the first goal? £1,000 or whatever, right? That is a very different strategy from what you're going to use to go from $500,000 to $1 million. And one of the things that I've learned in businesses is often when you start, you're very hands-on, you do everything, and that's great, but then when you go to the next level, the stuff that you learn at that's why a lot of entrepreneurs are control freaks, because they try and do what they learn at level one, which is hustling.
They learn hustle.
They learn how to hustle, and then they can't take it to the next level.
They can't release themselves from that hustle because that's what they're born and bred to do.
Yeah.
And then they have to go to the next level, which means freeing up and systemization, which is very difficult to do.
It is, but again, each level is like that. So look, what makes you a millionaire is different to what makes you a billionaire. It's a different skill set. It's a different
100%.
strategy. So how do you go from £100 to £1 million? You don't
First get to 1,000,
Yeah, you don't.
then get that 1,000 to 10,000, then get a 10,000 to 100,000, and then start building your way up from there. At all times, you're going to have to reinvest and re-educate.
So my first goal, if I were you, wouldn't be to get to £1 million. My first goal would be something like to earn £1,000 a month. That'd be my goal. And how would I do that in property? 2 ways, either through deal sourcing or rent to rent. Once you get to that level, then you start looking at your next level. I wouldn't even worry about it to begin with. It's just pipe dream.
It is pipe dream to a degree. I'm all for having goals, but don't make your goals so completely unachievable that disheartens you. Because what will happen is if you're like so focused on trying to get to £1 million this year, the reality is you're going to have to be very, very lucky, and it's probably not going to happen. And what will happen is if you don't hit it, you'll become disheartened and you'll give up. So as we've said, aim for 1,000, then 10, and 5, whatever, then 5, then 10, and 20.
Man.
Work your way up.
I
and just
wouldn't
keep
even
learning.
be thinking about it at this stage, personally.
Yeah.
Wouldn't even be thinking about it.
All right, guys.
I just got one more question
Go
from
on.
Sam Hawkins that's come in. I told him an answer on the show. He said, "Hi Ross, hope you don't mind me asking for advice. I seem to be finding an influx of HMOs that are in negative equity and have been on either for a day or 4+ months. I've sent a letter to a few from finding the owner's addresses, but wanted to ask if there's a better way to get in contact other than direct to vendor letters. Thank you."
You could book a viewing out of hours, and obviously the landlord's not going to be there, so that's not going to work. If they're up and running HMOs, the landlord won't be there. So you need to find out the landlord's home address, which you can often find from the HMO registers. Not all HMO registers give that information, but quite a few of them do. Like I know, for instance, the one in Birmingham gives the landlord correspondence address. Or you need to find out who owns it. Most HMOs are owned by companies. So go on to company's house, find that company, send a letter to the company as opposed to the property, and you'll probably get in there a bit easier.
Yeah, or look for HMOs that are being rented out, like for example rooms for rent on Gumtree, for example, and then contact the landlord that way and say, hey, I mean, what's he trying to achieve? He's trying to buy
Lease options.
Lease options. So you contact them and say, look, I'm interested in renting the whole place.
Yeah.
Are you interested? I'm also interested in buying it.
Yeah.
So that might be a good way to get around that, Sam. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in this week. Hope you enjoyed the show. I know that you're all eager to get Ricky back. We are too.
We are too. Trust me.
But thanks for tuning in. Please also, if you could do us a massive favour, if you could leave us a review for the podcast if you enjoyed it.
Not based on this show.
But based on other shows that we've done in the past, or other good shows that you like, Joe Rogan's show, for example, you can leave us a review for us for that. That'll be absolutely great. Thanks ever so much for tuning in there, guys. We'll see you at the same time, same channel, Wednesday, 7 PM next week.
See you guys.